Valentine's Day weekend.
What's up?
Happy Valentine's Day weekend, and welcome back to Toy with Me, where we explore pleasure with intention, curiosity, and consent. Tonight's episode is all about psychological play, where the mind is the main erogenous zone. So, we are talking about anticipation, power, tension, teasing, fantasy, and how desire can build long before anyone even gets touched. As always, this is a judgment-free, sex-positive space. Participation it is optional. Consent is always required, and respect is non-negotiable. Whether you're here in person or watching online. Here at Toy with Me, we explore ways to spice up your sex life, whether you're alone or if you're with a partner or in a group. Here we celebrate all gender-loving communities and people of all abilities. So tonight's show is the final part of our 6-part series discussing various forms of sensory play as a kink. So September we had sensory play overview. In October we had sound as a kink. In November we discussed taste with food play. December was about temperature and touch. And last month was all about sight as a kink. So if you missed any of those episodes, you can go back and check them out on YouTube or Facebook. Tonight, we are joined by 2 amazing and incredible guests who will be sharing their experience and their expertise. So first, I want to introduce the amazing and lovely Caesar. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. So again, my name's Caesar. I'm the owner and founder of My Dark Twisted Fetish, which is an adult photography and videography company, which I founded with pretty much the sum of everything, the sole purpose of helping people fall in love with their authentic selves.
Nice. So I can come to you and do some nice bedroom poses.
Most definitely.
Okay.
Or even Shibari.
Okay. See, I didn't know that. We're going to have to talk. Okay. Thank you. And we want to introduce our next amazing guest, Dr. MK.
Thank you so much, Madam Trixie, for having me on the show tonight. I am Dr. Myron Chris, Dr. MK for short. I am a psychotherapist by training, so I specialize primarily with gay and trans men. I work with people that are neurodivergent, so ADHD, autism, and their relationships, because mixed neurotype relationships can be a little challenging, and they have their own sets of problems and challenges. And then I also work with ethical non-monogamous relationship and constellations, polyamorous constellations. And on top of that, if that was not enough, I'm a singer and a speaker.
What? Okay, now. We might have to hear a little something. Okay, so thank you for joining us tonight. And I'm looking forward to getting into some deep mind fucking with you all. Tonight, we're talking about anticipation and power and teasing, fantasy and control, and the mental buildup that can feel just as intense, sometimes even more intense than actual physical touch. So I want to ask you all, how do each of you define psychological play, and what makes it different from other forms of intimacy or kink?
To me, to be quite honest, I feel psychological play is involved in kink in all types of intimacy, even in vanilla play, because it's all about how the mind is receiving the person that they're in bedroom with, or wherever the place they may be involved with each other. It takes a level of comfort, trust, which all starts with the mind.
Yeah, and I'll add to that, everything that we do, like you were saying, is psychological, but it's being more intentional about what you're doing, what you're saying, and how you are engaging the mind in the play.
Okay. I think I would also add like psychological play, even being things like, using techniques around trust, negotiation, even fear, a nice healthy fear, and anticipation to really tap into the mind of a person so you can get into their physical body. Okay. So I want to ask you also, like, why do you think that the mind can be such a powerful place to elicit some arousal?
I can jump in here. So I think as a therapist, that's the realm that I'm always in helping people to see what's going on in their minds, because they could be thinking things, but if we don't talk about it, then we never know. So there's so many mysteries, you can't really tell what a person is thinking unless you're communicating with them. And the mind is a place of meaning making. It is a place where we process things. It's a place that says whether we are in danger or if we are safe. And so being intentional about all of these things is very important. And that's where all of that happens. It's in the mind. It starts in the mind.
Okay.
And definitely to piggyback off that, how powerful the mind is, there's been instances of people who's been able to psychologically impregnate themselves in a sense, where they experience all the same symptoms of a pregnancy and everything, but they're not pregnant. That shows how strong the mind can be in convincing oneself, or even on the other end of things where you have individuals where when you're going through hard times and how you talk to yourself is important. That shows just how strong the mind plays in just about everything, and how it can trickle into other aspects such as psychological play and how you're interacting with your partner or even yourself in those instances.
Yeah, when you said that, it made me think about, like even that mind-body connection, how if, like a person is an amputee, and how they still feel in their body, like their leg that is no longer there, they still feel it. And the part of them that they have to kind of even psychologically tell themselves things in their mind so that they no longer, feel those phantom pains and things that happen. So that is interesting. And like you said, our mind and body, that psychological connection in all the things that we do. Okay. So we're going to play a interactive game called Mind Games or Nah. And we want everyone in the audience to play with us. So you're going to give us a thumbs up if it's something that you like, thumbs down if it's something that you're like, nah. Also, those of you that are online, put it in the chat. And so that's how we're going to also play. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Yep. Okay.
Can we do a middle?
And in the middle, you could do in the middle, right? Being told what might happen later, but never when. Being told what might happen later or never when. Intentional teasing followed by denial. Okay. We're going to put a pin in that one, right? A countdown that stops just before 0. Yeah, I think I don't like that one. I don't think that's my friend. Being sent a message that says, I'm thinking about you with no follow-up. I don't like that. Don't be fucking with my mind.
That's what we're supposed to be doing, right?
I know, right? I can say I don't like that. Rules for the day that limit what you're allowed to do, agreed on ahead of time.
I'm still an Aquarius.
What that mean?
I need my freedom sometimes. If I just had that moment of spontaneity,
yeah,
and I just, hey, you know what? The wind told me to go ahead and hop on the bus, versus taking an Uber, and now I ended up on the other side of town, and this is going on, but it's a blast. You want to come?
So even if you agreed upon it, it might change up in the moment.
It might change up in a moment.
Okay, we're gonna come back to that, knowing that things you agreed upon can change in the moment. We're gonna go back to that. Knowing your partner has a surprise plan but refusing to give any details. Okay. Delayed response on purpose to build up anticipation. Okay. Being told to wait even when you really don't want to. I could be all right with that one.
I'm a brat.
So you're a brat. Okay. All right. You're gonna explain to those that don't know why you may not like those things. Someone describing a scenario slowly and stopping before the ending.
Will we ever get to the ending, or are they just stopping for
I
a second?
know, right? That I can't really even answer that.
Yeah, see, my tism is telling me now because I want to know what's going on. What's the end of the story? Don't just start the story and just
Stop before the ending.
Yeah,
like, because why are we here then?
now I got to try to fill in the rest of it. Now I'm out here writing a full novel in my head.
That could be
Yeah,
fun
guess
though.
what?
You know?
Okay. Eye contact held just a little too long with no words at all. Okay, so let me ask you, which one of those are something that you either like that you like to do to someone or that you like to receive? Because you could have answered those questions also from I like doing it, or I like it done to me, or I don't like that. You could have had that kind of response.
Can we go back?
So it's kind of funny because it's like some of these I may not like done to myself, but I would definitely do it to other people.
Yes.
So it's definitely just that toss up. And what was the question again?
Like where are you at with well, you answered one part of it, like what don't you don't like to any of these done to you?
For the most part.
For the most part, is there anyone that is like, you know what, I really like that, or I really don't like that?
Definitely eye contact. I actually love eye contact. It's definitely one of the things that I enjoy, being able to look into people's eyes and stuff. And to be honest, I like the fact that when you're able to look into somebody's eyes, most people aren't used to eye contact. So I do enjoy that moment of when they feel uncomfortable when I'm staring in their eyes.
A little fear.
Yeah, and not even a little fear. It's like, yes, I'm staring into your soul right now.
Yes.
That uncomfortable feeling that you feel right now, that's me walking through the doorway of your soul.
Yes. And I like to do that to people, to have them do actually intentional with psychological play, eye gazing, where we actually do that over a period of time to stare into a person's eyes, right? So you can kind of get to, usually people do, see another aspect of themselves when they do that, but also to help break that uncomfortability. I think for myself, and when I think about that, I don't like when people cannot look me into my eyes, because now I'm going like,
What are you hiding?
what you had and what's the shifty stuff going on up underneath that?
And that's actually one of the biggest things for adult photography when I'm working with clients, their body language, eye contact. That's how I can tell when they're not comfortable, when they can't make eye contact with me when I'm behind the lens. So it's like, okay, let's slow down a little bit and let's figure out why you're not comfortable right now.
Yeah.
So the eye contact says a lot.
It does. What about you?
So you got me thinking about this eye contact, because I have had in a previous relationship where I intentionally had us just gazing in each other's eyes for 10 minutes. And it was a little uncomfortable for both of us. But that felt like one of the most intimate times that we ever had in that relationship. So there's something, because I don't think we just in life really gaze in each other's eyes, look in each other's eyes enough.
Yes.
And so it felt very intimate and vulnerable. And I saw a different part of my partner at that point. So the eye contact is very important. The delayed responses on purpose to build anticipation is one that, now I'm from Georgia, so I naturally speak a little slower. So, but I enjoy to, do that more intentional, so to build up that suspense. But to Caesar, your point earlier, many of these things make I have more dom energy. I don't mind doing it. I don't necessarily want these things done to me. So.
Okay. All right. All right. So I want to ask you both, what role does anticipation play in psychological play, and why does waiting make your desire stronger? Like, what is that recipe? You wait, I desire more.
It's because it's kind of like how I was saying earlier, when a person begins to tell a story and then they stop, and now all of a sudden you're writing a whole novel in your head. Mm-hmm. That's what the anticipation does within psychological play, is now you gave me a little bit, mm-hmm. and I have to try to figure out the rest, or I have to try to calm myself to not figure out the rest. So now I'm doing dishes, I'm cleaning up the house, I'm doing 15 billion things to try to block out what you just told me, so I don't try to figure it out. Or now I'm on Instagram trying to figure out what restaurants you just followed. I'm trying to figure out where you commented it on, or so that anticipation, it plays the role in getting the person, in a sense, hyped up, mm-hmm. especially when they're connected to their partner. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to bet if you're not interested in a person and they're trying to tell you like, oh, I'm going to do this later, it's going to be, all right, okay, right, cool. But when it is somebody you're interested in, it's like, so what's going on? What's happening?
It's going down later.
You're not telling me, is it going down later, or is it going down next week?
Or now.
Or right now. Like, are you outside right now? So I say it plays that role.
Yeah, it's definitely something to, in this time, we're so used to it, what I call a microwave generation. We want things quick. You can get on these day naps. You want somebody today, they'll be right there in this moment, 30 seconds or less, kind of like the pizza, we'll be there at your doorstep. But it's something about having to wait for something. Mm-hmm. It kind of sets up that anticipation. It kind of, wait, what am I waiting for? What am I anticipating? And I don't feel many times in relationships we get that enough. That anticipation is really the draw that can be enticing and captivating and turn a person on, depending on if they're into that type of thing.
Sometimes the best meat is the meat that marinated.
Yes.
Take some time. Huh?
Say that again. The best meat is the meat that marinates, because it takes some time to get the good seasoning in there. Mm-hmm. I like that. When I think about, like anticipation, I'm thinking about, your central nervous system, mm-hmm. and how we're so used to, like you were talking about microwave, we're so used to instant gratifications on all ends, instant sexual gratification. And how do we soothe that, or how do we receive what we want right away? We're not used to things like deprivation, denial, waiting, having, I don't even know. Sometimes I could say maybe a little bit of discipline, especially like if you've been told, if you have agreed upon with that person that they can tell you what to do, and you've been told to wait. Now you got to actually do the thing that you gave the other person control to do, and you have to trust that you won't be hurt in that process, and you have to have your own level of either self-soothing and be okay with a little bit of fear, that natural fear and your nerves, like just to feel something or to have to be nervous about something doesn't mean that you have to always like crash out. You could just kind of be a little activated. I think anticipation forces you to explore your own nerves, right? Like, what does that look like? And even find a place of being safe inside of yourself, around what your nerves are feeling.
Waiting is vulnerable.
Yes.
To be able to, like you're talking about, put your trust in someone else, especially you're blindfolded or whatever the case may be. And it's like, I don't know what's coming next, but I trust that this person is not going to harm me, not going to do anything outside of our agreed upon time. And so there's something, I would even say magical, that happens when we wait.
Yes. What about you when you think about vulnerability in
It's definitely, when it comes to being able to anticipation, it's definitely in a submissive type of way. And it definitely involves a lot of trust. Kind of like how you were just saying, just being able to trust that you are going to take care of me. You do understand and respect my boundaries, and you also are going to honor those boundaries as well. So I'm here for a good time and a long time and a ride.
Yes.
And even within that aspect, within knowing yourself, trusting yourself, and like, okay, I trust myself to release to this person. Because that oftentimes is the biggest thing. Some people can trust somebody, but not trust themselves.
It's that part. I trust somebody else, but I don't trust myself, which could play into, you trusting, like, now it trickles to the other person. Did you choose the right person to do those things with? And I guess this kind of goes into what I wanted to ask you. How does power show up in psychological play without crossing into manipulation and harm?
And I would say it starts with communication and transparency. Both individuals feeling comfortable to have those hard conversations with each other. Those conversations of, this is what I do like and this is what I don't like. And even the boring conversations, because oftentimes I notice when I get on Grindr, some people don't want to go through the whole vetting process. They don't want to go through the whole, well, what's your boundaries? What's this and what's that? It's like you said, the instant gratification, like, let's just go. And it's like, no, let's actually talk and get an understanding and discuss what we do and don't. So that way, when it's time, we feel comfortable and we feel able to release. But without those types of negotiation and that type of communication, how can I freely give my mind to you? Because now I'm going to be thinking about all types of things. Does this make you feel comfortable? Do you hear me when I say stop? Are you listening? Are you really respecting me right now? Am I a fetish to you because I'm black and chocolate? Or, is this that? Like, when you don't have that communication, it leaves the room for all types of thoughts to come into play. So that's why I feel the communication is important, and the transparency comes into play because we're all different.
Yeah.
We all speak differently. We all go about things differently. We all enjoy things differently. So having a conversation around transparency can allow a person to understand some things. So it's like, most of my friends know that I suck at texting. But them understanding who I am, they know that they don't have to call me for 10, 20 years, but they hit me up. I'm right there for you. That trust and that confidence that they know who I am and they know what I'm about, that, okay, Caesar, he's never going to be the best texter, but he's going to be there when I need him. And that's what I can trust and rely on.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel that communication and transparency come in play. Because I'm going to tell you straight up, I suck at texting. And that gives you the option of, do I want to deal with this or not?
Yes.
And once you get past the communication and the transparency, that's when you can have those more OP conversations about things and dive deeper into stuff. And you can really begin to release your mind to the other person.
Yeah.
And you can find yourself doing more vulnerable things with each other.
Yeah, definitely. That's having good communication definitely releases, reduces, I want to say it's harm reduction from that. What do you have to say?
So power is always in relationships. Every dynamic, there's power. And even working with my relationship clients, where is the power? You might have power in one area, but not have power in another area. So looking at the ways that power shows up and engage that is very key, because many people, like even myself as a therapist, I have power in the room without talking with clients. Many therapists say, well, no, I don't want to feel like I have power, or, I want to level the playing field. Power is not, in and of itself, is not a bad thing. It's what you do with it that makes the difference. So realizing in whatever scenario we set up, where is the power in the room? Who holds the power? And what are they doing with that? Because if you are not with someone you trust, then they can be manipulative and they can do things, cause more harm than good. So being aware of where the power is and the dynamic is very key.
Nice.
And it's funny you mention that, because my therapist definitely has the power in the room. And it's something I appreciate, because I want to be able to trust that you have that power to be able to guide me through some certain conversations. I'm here to be in a submissive state, to be able to get that work done, to be able to be in a better place mentally or get over certain trauma. So it's funny that you touched on that, because when I thought about it briefly, like, she do, in those moments when I spiral, she commands the room, and then the attention is like, oh, I am not the dominant situation.
Yes, being able to definitely see the different times of where, depending on who you're talking to, your dynamic, your role changes. And also, I think that that helps you also be able to have better negotiations as well, when you understand what your role is in that. And even that brings you to a place of where I want to say that psychologically you have a part in, you have your own work to do to bring yourself into that space of being the submissive person, or even the one who's doing the action at times. So yeah, thank you for that. So we want to take a quick pause, because caring for your mental and sexual health go hand in hand. And Project Vida offers free confidential HIV and STI testings at home. And we're going to show you this quick testing commercial.
Your sexual wellness just got a glow up. Test, play, repeat. The free, discreet, and easy way to take control of your health. Order a no-cost STI test kit right to your door. No labels, no shame, no schedule hassles. Or stop by Project Vida in person. Either way, you score a $200 premium toy box curated for your pleasure. Here's how it works. Scan the QR. Sign up in 2 minutes. Test at home or in person. Get fast, reliable results. Then claim your reward, because self-care is sexy. Because pleasure and protection go hand in hand. Because knowing your status is confidence. Test, play, repeat. Your wellness, your way.
Okay, so thank you for that. So we're gonna do a little rope demo to kind of show one of the ways that we can use our tools and go hand in hand with some psychological play. So I want to ask, have you been tied before?
On a few occasions.
Okay, all right. So I want you to close your eyes for just a moment. Let's just kind of tap in. Take some deep breaths in and out. Let's breathe in again. And exhale. So as I'm tying you, you can keep your eyes closed if you would like, but I want you to kind of connect to what are some things that you want to be tied to. We're at the top of the year still, and you may have some goals for yourself. So I want you to tap into that. What do you want to be tied to as I'm tying your arm? How are you feeling in this moment?
Excited. I'm feeling pretty excited.
Okay, good. So, as I'm tying Caesar, before I got started, I wanted to tap into Caesar's mind by having him first connect with himself, breathing. Then I wanted to just make some physical connections. So I rubbed his arm, right? Even though he was anticipating me to tie him, but he did not expect me to touch his chest or rub his arms. How did that make you feel?
A little bit more grounded, conscientious about my breathing. It made me actually focus a little bit more in.
And I think that sometimes people in psychological play, they always think about the harder stuff, right? Like it doesn't have to be that way. You could actually use that time to really connect in. You can negotiate even more, how far you can go. Like I'm starting off
You
with,
can make it tighter.
and even, thank you. And even the bottom having, having the ability to say what they want more of. And I could either deny, I could deny, or I can move a little slower in doing that. So what's something that you are like in 2026, you're like, look, I want to really tie myself to a thing, anything?
For 2026, I want to tie myself to doing more of the things that I love, to continue what I've already been doing these past few years of growing and evolving and becoming closer to a better version of myself.
Nice. So even in, like psychologically playing with someone, you don't always have to start off with what the kink is, right? So one of the things and aspects around that is, let's say if Caesar was somebody that I have played with for a long time, that me stimulating with rope and then asking what is something that he wants to do more of in 2026, that's another layer, because when he's doing more of the things that he wanted to do in 2026, I may be on his mind because I've stimulated that that thought, even the part of where he may even be like, I don't want to disappoint madam, so I'm going to go do this particular activity, more of this in this time. So I want to say also too, when doing things like role play or stuff with somebody that you've maybe never done before, you definitely want to have some negotiations around this beforehand. And any type of play with somebody, you want to have some negotiation. Right?
Madam Trixie,
Yes.
we have a question online.
Okay.
How do I course correct without killing the mood?
How do you course correct without killing the mood? That is a really good question. I want to say it depends on like your dynamic with the person that you are with. Knowing if they are a person that, like likes things to be maybe delivered a little stern, then you can kind of deliver the correction, with that same energy, but you might not you're not trying to harm and hurt the person. You know, you're still being compassionate in it. And I think that that might even be something like a conversation that you have before you start dealing with somebody, like things that may come up, like, hey, I may not like this and that. I also think that having safe words are also really great ways to have course correction without going too deep right at that moment, right? You can say red. And we know that this is something that I don't like already because we've already discussed that this is what that means. Or I may say yellow. That means if we're using like the traffic light symbols, then that means that this is something that is like, hey, I would like to have some conversation around it, but I definitely want you to stop doing whatever the activity is you're doing in that moment. I think having good negotiations beforehand helps you from killing the vibe, right? How would you?
And to be honest, I don't feel being able to correct somebody in those moments isn't killing the vibe. Especially when they trust you, they're there for you, and they're supposed to be there for you. That open line of communication should be receptive and appreciated. And to be honest, if it's not, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this.
You can say it.
You probably shouldn't be with that person.
Yes.
If you telling that person that, hey, this makes me feel uncomfortable or this makes me feel away, and it's them saying, oh, you just killed the mood, we don't want to do this or whatever the case may be, that may be a sign that that is not a safe person for you to play with, because it should be easily receptive that, hey, I don't like this. And it is making me feel uncomfortable, and they should be willing, okay, what can I do to make it comfortable? Or you want to just take this off the menu altogether? And especially when you're dealing with a responsible top or a responsible dom, it's always more so about your pleasure than it is their pleasure anyway. So I don't think you can kill the mood just by providing correction. I would say, honestly, you kill the mood by not providing that correction.
Absolutely. Well, I am done with you.
Already?
Yeah.
I gotta leave?
You can. Would you like a hug?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So, that question, that was a very good question about course correction. I liked your answers around that. All right. So I want to ask some things about what should people be paying attention to when trying psychological play for the first time. And definitely, I want to say, like, that question was one to kind of lead up into some of that. You should be paying attention to what's happening when you are in negotiations with somebody to start, playing with them. Because essentially you are allowing yourself to be vulnerable and open to that person. And so I should be able to talk to you prior to that. So what do you think around that?
I would say to make sure you're checking in with yourself. What am I feeling? If something doesn't feel right, even if it's just a little bit, pay attention to that, because oftentimes we have these, red flags or these, softer color flags, but then we don't pay it. Oh, it'll be all right. And then we're in a situation we don't want to be in. And I would also say you can't over communicate when it's, especially if somebody new, somebody that you don't know. I had one friend, he had a written contract and pages and pages, and they signed it together. So whatever you need to do, because we're talking about psychological play. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable. It's not supposed to cause harm. So if it's starting to cause harm, then we have a problem. We're no longer in the play zone.
Yeah.
And I would say people should be paying attention for the body language. I think they say, like, 80% or 90% of the unspoken language is body language, or of language is body language. How a person move, how they position themselves. Even when I work with clientels in adult photography, the way they position themselves, if they have their feet towards the door, then I know you're trying to escape me from this photo shoot right now. And I can see that when you have your chest facing another way, when you're looking down, even if I notice that you're shaking or things like that, being intuitive into what's going on with the person's body and reading their language, reading how they're responding to things. If you've been playing for a while with your partner, you probably can tell when they're excited and when they're ready, or when things is uncomfortable, just based off the tenseness of things. So you should really just be paying attention to what they're saying, but as well as their body language, because sometimes you can have individuals where they don't know how to communicate in that moment what is making them feel uncomfortable. And of course, having those conversations ahead of time and stuff can help prevent a lot. But even in those moments, being able to read their body language can also help you adjust without even having to put them on the spot. Because sometimes it can make a person feel embarrassed being called out. So being able to read without having to say something, definitely just paying attention to that body language for the first time and every time.
Yes, I like that. That actually makes me think about two things too, but both of you all were saying, which, you know, I'm probably a go down the rabbit hole person. It makes me think about why it's also important to talk about, yes, body language, but also give cues, nonverbal cues, right? Which is good for all people, but it really could be great for people who are also disabled people, which I'm thinking we may talk about that at another time. Yes. So you want to give cues because they may not be able to give the same type of cues that someone who is not disabled, right? And you have, you know, visible disabilities and you have some that are not. So I think that paying attention to the body languages and giving cues is really important. Something else that you said earlier about you could be in the middle of the thing and you decide like, hey, now I don't like that. Paying attention to if someone is, and not just the first time playing with someone psychologically, but all times, is this person able to read or hear when when your consent has now changed in the type of playing, in this activity? I think that's something to really pay attention to.
Yeah. To even go up, to stay in that vein, even with one of my clients, we came to the realization, like for instance, not just even disabilities, but if someone has a gag in their mouth, they can't say no or what have you. So even having some type of sign signal, like for this client, they said they would give their partner the bird because that's out of their character, and so they knew if they saw that sign, then they would stick up their middle finger. They know that, all right, stop. So even paying attention to the body throughout the entire experience. Yeah.
And that makes me go into what kind of conversations do you think that someone should have before going into psychological kink play?
I feel like there should definitely be a conversation around past traumas, because I do have this personal theory that individuals who play within the BDSM and kink lifestyle, that oftentimes is connected to past traumas, and it's the person reclaiming their time, for lack of better words. So even within that, just understanding a person's traumas to better make sure that you aren't triggering them. Or to even understand, like, okay, so is this why you enjoy this kink or enjoy this? So how should I go about it so that way it doesn't send you into the wrong place, it sends you into the right place? Understanding people's triggers, because your traumas and triggers, I feel, can be two separate different things. So just understanding a person's trigger, what words are alarming to you, what words completely shut you down or hit your nervous system the wrong way, what words make your nervous system spark up, It's kind of like if you're playing with a trans male, a trans man, and you call them a girl, that's going to fuck them up and probably saying the wrong thing. So being very just conscious and having those conversations of knowing like what is acceptable, what is not. Because I have met an individual where they do like that degradation of, yes, degradate my gender and me and what I want to be a form. But now it's, okay, how should I go about it so I don't trigger you in the worst way or remind you of something from your childhood? So I definitely feel like those are the hard conversations that people oftentimes don't want to have. And I even be honest to admit that there was a point in time in my life that I didn't even want to try to have those hard conversations around my traumas and stuff. And that creates barriers around enjoyment in and outside the bedroom.
Yes, that even goes in relation to me why the work at Project Vida is really important, because people aren't even, they're not talking about their traumas. They're not even talking about what's happening inside of their bodies. They're not testing. They're not comfortable with, like, they're thinking that if I ask you your status, that I'm killing the mood. And it's like, you're going to do a lot more if you don't know certain things. And so, like, definitely, like, there is a long list of things and conversations that should be had prior to. What about you?
The only thing I would add is just to ask the person, what are you hoping to get out of this experience? How do you want to feel in this experience? So then we can co-create this space.
Yes.
But if I don't know what your goals are, what the intent is, then we just don't know, and we can't make sure that we do those things or not do certain things to make sure that we get to that intention.
Yeah, that's really, really important, that part, to know that we have a goal, we have an intention around this, the purpose of doing this. Okay. Do we have a question from the audience?
Yes, we have a question from the audience.
Okay, so my question is, what if the person that you're, the partner that you're with, they are interested in the kink that you are necessarily not interested in? How would you go about that?
I'm going to be very transparent and tell them I'm not interested in that.
Yeah.
I'm not the right person for you.
You know, your kink is your yum, so I'm definitely not going to yuck your yum, but it doesn't mean that I have to compromise my boundaries or the things that make me feel happy within my sex life to appease you. We can find something that works for both of us. I'm a big believer. We can have our cake and eat it too. You know, that's one of the reasons I'm poly. If it doesn't work for me, I'm not going to be offended if you find someone that also enjoys it, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's your happiness that I want. So if you have a kink that isn't my kink or makes me feel a way or doesn't, you know, align with me, I'm going to be transparent enough with you to tell you that's not my kink. And I am going to reassure you that, hey, I'm not judging you or saying that it's something wrong with you because you have that kink. And I'm going to even let you know, like, if you want to explore that with somebody else, go full force with it. And, you know, and within that, me hoping that you respect that, because maybe somewhere down the road, I may be open to it. It may be just a no for today. Allow me to go do my research and do a deep dive so I can figure out what this is that you just presented to me. But I do feel if someone presents a kink and you're not into it, no. It is okay to just say no. There's beauty and power and no.
Yeah, everybody has the right to have autonomy over their own sexual pleasure and body. And I do think that saying I'm not into that and having those conversations is very important. There's other options too, like Caesar said, you can, they go and have another partner that they can do that with. I also would like to add in going to things where there are live demonstrations or classes or educational things that you can participate in to actually satisfy that kink of yours. It might even be something where you can then explore, is it something that you want to do, as far as like, do you want to rope tie or do you want to be tied? And you only find those things out by going out into spaces where that is open for you to explore those things, but you shouldn't make a person, they don't have to like what you like, you know? Like, I don't eat meat. Don't go fix me a pot of greens. Talking about, oh, it ain't no meat in here. And you fix me a bowl and you've fished out the meat, because now we're not moving in integrity. And definitely you don't respect me, you know, to try to force me into something that at that time I don't want to do.
One thing I will add, it does get a little more challenging if you're in a monogamous relationship and the one partner wants something that the other one does not. And for that, I would even, of course, there's communication that needs to take place, but maybe even going deeper. So you like this, I'm not into this. Why do you like this? What are you wanting to get out of this? So maybe whatever the need or the intention, we can meet that need in other ways that we both can agree upon. So maybe there's some negotiation that can happen even in a monogamous relationship.
Yeah, possibly. And even things like, it might be something where you go and watch the things happening. You might not have to actually participate physically in that way. That might satisfy your need. But if you've done all the things, you've read all the books about the things, and you have not come to a certain place with your partner, and the partner is still like, I don't like this and I want that, you got some other conversations that you got to have. There's no getting, you know, you can't get around that.
How do you introduce new kinks to your partner?
Again, for me, that's definitely conversations, asking those things. Also paying attention to stuff that you notice about that person. Like if you notice that a person, you know, they may not necessarily care so much about their clothing, but they're really into shoes. And this is your partner. And you're like, this person may, context clues, they may have some sort of a foot fetish, whether it's they want to do something to your feet or they want it done. That can lead you some room to where there's a conversation that can have. How do you feel about this and that? Because I notice you do X, Y, and Z. And I was thinking about B, C, and D when I see you do that thing. Invite those conversations to happen. I think based off of what you already notice, whether it's something that you notice in real time with them, or let's say you're watching a movie, you know, or you're out and about and you see something happening, you know, somebody having PDA, and you notice your partner is like, okay, that's nice, you know, and you want to ask them about like, do you public display of affection? Yeah, if they may want, I mean, like, it's not just the things that one may consider really X-rated and erotic in one particular way, although there's nothing wrong with that. But I think you can start to notice some things in how your partner likes stuff, with noticing who they are and also what they say and what you notice that gets their attention anyway. Even within your own self, what are the things that you notice that they are really attracted to about you, you know, and bringing that into conversation.
I'm gonna just send you a link from Twitter.
Yeah, but I think this is an opportunity for intimacy and for vulnerability and for growing deeper with the person. So even being courageous enough to be able to share, again, with my clients, I watch them do this right in front of my eyes, and it can be scary. But when you open up and be vulnerable with somebody that you love and they're able to hold that, then that can be an enriching and build you up as a person.
Yeah. So just say it.
Yeah.
Just say it.
Just say it.
Yeah.
You know, follow me on Twitter. Let's follow each other on Twitter and
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
see your likes. Let me see your bookmarks.
Okay. Okay. And I also will add to, if this is someone that you like, this is your partner, tap into the ways in which you know how they communicate. What do they respond to? So if you know that they already really like when they hear you say certain things, go and find a song that makes you think about that thing and just send them that song. Listen, I want you to listen to this. And then have the conversation. I was thinking about, in the 3rd minute of that song, when they said do this, I think I want to do that to you. Like have some kind of, send them a movie. Have you seen this movie before? Fast forward to 15 seconds. Fast forward to that part and tell me what you think. Like you can still play games with that and then still have the conversation. Like if it's not easy for you, or send a meme? Send a meme. Emoji, whatever it is. I don't know. Send them something. If it's harder for you, but you still can't avoid the conversation because you want full consent around whatever it is you want to receive or want to do. Not just like, okay, just send you a little emoji. Is that, I want to do that too, or?
Is that like a maybe later?
Yeah, but you could send that to just kind of kick the conversation off, I think.
But I think also just to add to that, understanding that we are not static beings, so we're all evolving and changing. So just because someone is vanilla today doesn't mean they're not into more kinky stuff tomorrow or the next day. So just kind of being aware that it can evolve and change. And then sometimes I don't know what I don't like because I've never experienced it. So maybe just exposure, to your point, with certain things. Oh, I kind of like being tied up or tying up or different things. So.
Yeah, and sometimes just because somebody is kinky don't mean like, I'm aware when I have my vanilla moments and I'm like, no, we ain't got to talk about, no. I'm clear. Okay, so within that, we've introduced things to our partners. We've had our conversations. We've moved on to where we've done our things. What is aftercare, and how does those emotional like check-ins, how do they show up in psychological play? Even if something has not happened physically just yet, like what is aftercare? Because some people may not know.
So I define aftercare is making sure that the person can get back to a regulated state.
Mm-hmm. What's a regulated state?
That depends on the person, whatever their baseline is. So maybe you think about where they came into the session or into the experience. Mm-hmm. We want them to leave at that place or better. Not if they're on the ground crying and shaking, then that's not the place we want to leave them. Okay. So just being able to make sure that you are not doing harm. Mm-hmm. So, and again, these conversations need to happen before we even start. I even do this even with my clients in therapy. When we have an emotional session, what does aftercare look like for you after our sessions? Because some people feel triggered and traumatized and all the different things. Mm-hmm. And being able to say, okay, if we're in a relationship, I might need to talk about it a little bit more, or I might need some space alone. Mm-hmm. It might mean holding the person and just cuddling and not talking, but being able to, whatever that person needs, to be able to meet that need for them. And to also just remember aftercare, be intentional about aftercare, because many of us, all right, we did the thing, all right, have a good day. Mm-hmm. And we don't do anything. We go home, goodbye, put your clothes on and everything, and we forget. Mm-hmm. So even being intentional, all right, we need 15 minutes. We might say we're going to play for 45 minutes, but we need 15 minutes to just sit and cuddle or whatever it is, so that we can make sure that we're leaving in a good place.
Yes. What about you?
I would definitely say aftercare and emotional check-ins, it could be as simple as just the conversation afterwards. Just how are you feeling? What are you feeling in this moment? eating some good food, rolling up for the individuals that like to indulge, putting on your favorite anime to decompress and just kind of just vibe out. But even just still just asking to see how things is going. Even reading the room and reading the environment to see like, oh, do I need to go grab you some water? Do you need something to drink real quick? Going to get the wet wipes.
Yes. I love that. Yes. And aftercare could be something as simple like, would you like a hug? Do you want to just let's just breathe together. You may decide to do something where your aftercare is very similar to how you started off your scene. Like if you had let's say a word, peace, right? And you ended on that. Let's go back to that word, like things to connect back in. So I like those answers.
I think one other thing I would add, especially if you are calling someone wants to be called a slut or a whore, whatever that case may be, you might have to undo some of those things. So you call them dumb or whatever the words you use, you might need to say you are smart, you are beautiful, you are kind. So then they are not holding on that I'm dumb or crazy or whatever the case may be.
When they return back to the world and out of the scene. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we are going to do our reminder for you all again to come and get free confidential HIV testing. We do that at Project Vida. We also have it at home options as well. Knowing your status supports a safer and more intentional pleasure. So now I just want to talk to you all about just the tip, right? Just the tip. One takeaway that you can actually use after tonight. So psychological play works best when you focus on anticipation and not confusion. You can, instead of doing something right away, you can name it. You can say the things that could happen with what you're planning. Then you can pause, let that sit in, and you can let the mind do its work. And before you try it, you can also have a quick check-in conversation.
What kind of teasing feels fun?
What feels stressful?
And what words or scenarios are off limits?
Yes. Psychological play should feel exciting and not overwhelming. And if your partner is smiling and leaning in and asking questions, you are doing it right. If they seem tense or unsure, slow down and reconnect. And remember that the mind is powerful. So treat it with care, respect, and consent. And the payoff can be very satisfying for you. And that was just a tip, but we can always go deeper. If you are online, drop in your questions that you have in the chat or even your comments. Maybe you have just a tip. What part of psychological play surprised you the most about tonight? So I want to ask our panelists, what's one intention that people should carry with them in exploring psychological play? And I think I'm going to just ask you, Dr. MK, about that.
What's one intention people should carry with them when exploring psychological play? I would say to, again, like I said earlier, know what they are wanting to get out of the experience, but also being aware of where they are in their psychologically, mentally, because maybe I'm not in the right space for psychological play. Maybe I am feeling very triggered, and so anything someone else says is going to throw me over the edge. So just being real with yourself about what it is that you are capable of doing, and there's no shame. If you're like, okay, I wanted to play, and I get there, and I'm not able to, I just can't do it, and to give yourself permission without shame.
Okay, and what kind of, and I'll ask you, do you have a tip around someone who needs to get there to be more vulnerable? What is something that you think psychological play can support them with?
It can, well, say that question.
To be more vulnerable, a tip or something that you think that psychological play can help them with in being more vulnerable.
Being comfortable, just communicating what you do and don't like, and not being afraid to communicate what you do or don't like. So that way you can feel comfortable to just release and exist.
Okay, thank you. So in-person folks, if you are here, you have a question or comment, viewers online, drop your questions in the chat for us. Okay, no questions. All right. Well, before we close, here's what's coming up. Link Up Chicago has its twice monthly drop-ins for Black same gender loving men. You can join us every second Saturday at New Covenant Church on 77th and Cottage Grove at our sober space. Link Up Sanctuary, and every fourth Saturday from our harm reduction space, Link Up Lounge at the center on Cottage Grove, located at 6323 South Cottage Grove. Both are open from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. For more information, you can call or text at 844-942-LINK. That's 844-942-5465. The Mind, Body, and Soul Health and Wellness Circle brings free mental, spiritual, and physical wellness services for Black, gay, and bisexual and same gender loving men. Join us for free fitness, dance, yoga, and cooking classes, as well as free acupuncture and massage therapy. 6 days a week, every Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. MBS offers meal preps on Monday, led by Chef Blake and Chef Nick. Just call at 773-277-2291 to register. Also, MBS has started offering massages on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. This coming Saturday on February 21st, MBS will be hosting its Speed Friending event. It's like speed dating, but without the pressure. So come on and make a friend, make a match, or just kick back. Join us for fun, food, music, and plenty of games, and people looking to mingle. Again, this will be taking place Saturday, February 21st from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Task Force Prevention and Community Service, located at 9 North Cicero, here on Chicago's West Side. And in case you missed it, this past Friday, we hosted our very first annual 50 Shades of Red event. It was a hot and sexy, kinky, and learning and play event that brought the heat to many of our communities and for our Valentine's Day lovers, singles and alls. We had a great time, and we want to thank everyone that showed up, everyone that came and got tested, our team that worked so very hard, and everyone else that helped to make this event possible. So we will surely be bringing events like this, more of them for you in the future. So check out our social medias to see more highlights from the past events, and be sure to not miss out on next year. And don't forget that if you are here in person, remember you can get tested for free at Project Vida. Walk-ins are accepted Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come and visit our office at 411 West 26th Street, or if you want to come and get the toy box delivered to you, just sign up for your free HIV test and call with your results, and it's on the way to you. Test, play, repeat. Say that with me.
Test, play, repeat.
Yes, and remember to join us next month on Sunday, March 15th at 7 p.m. for another exciting episode of Toy With Me. And again, I want to say thank you to our amazing guests for showing up. Do you have an event coming up, Dr. MK?
Yes, I will be speaking at Project Reunion, talking about intimacy and dating, particularly for those who are HIV positive. So navigating dating I would not recommend, but it is a challenging thought. So we're going to talk about how it is to be dating in 2026.
Nice. Caesar, do you have something coming up?
Unless anybody wants to book me for any type of photo shoot.
Yes. Okay. Well, we want to thank you for showing up
Thank
and
you for
bringing
having
your
us.
amazing selves and all that energy and all that information. It was great playing with you today.
Thank you. I really love my gauntlet. Can I just take this home like this? Okay.
No. Mm-mm.
I kind of figured. All good things come to an end at some point.
They do. We also want to say thank you to our amazing team for making this show possible. And we want to thank you all for joining us in the studio and online. We want to thank you for exploring what it means to show up with power and protection. Until next time,
Stay curious, stay safe, and keep it sexy.